I'm Sarah Johnson,
Of
first
course.
and foremost. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, but honestly, most of all, every single morning I wake up with a heart full of gratitude. And so I'm grateful for the day, I'm grateful for the gifts, and my goal is to share them.
Where are you from?
Originally, my family is from Pakistan. We have descendants from India, Iran, Japan. Grew up in Texas, and so I've been in Texas my entire life.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Can we talk about Posh Design Studios?
Absolutely. The Posh Design Studio is an interior design firm. We do interior design, we do interior decoration, we do so many facets of design. All things art. We're constant, perpetual students. We're constantly learning from people. Our goal is to work with great people, produce great spaces that evoke emotion, and make you want to come back to that space and just enjoy it.
Let's talk about your luxury fashion background. 25 plus years?
25 plus years.
Wow, let's hear about it.
You know, I'll never forget asking my parents if I could get a part-time job in high school. You know, I've come from a South Central Asian background, and typically, when you're at that age, you go to school and you're expected to focus on your studies and, you know, forge a path in that regard. I remember asking my parents, and they said, "What's this job business? You know, it's not necessary. Like, you should focus on your studies." So I fought them for 9 months verbally, asked to go to an interview, walked in there, was offered a part-time position, and had no idea that that part-time job would turn into a career that I still enjoy this day.
Wow. And the part-time position, is it okay to speak on that brand?
Sure. My very first job in the world was at The Gap Incorporated, and that was my retail boot camp.
Okay.
It taught me so much that I still treasure to this day, and opened my world to interacting with people on a completely different basis, and just enjoying the process of learning from them every single day.
So from Gap, where do we go to next?
Goodness. If we go down memory lane, after the Gap, one of my managers there recruited me to a company at the time called Oshman's Sporting Goods. Oshman's Sporting Goods is similar to like a Dick's today. We had 80,000 square feet stores. I was asked to be an area manager over soft lines, which encompassed all the clothing in the store. And so as a teenager, I was overseeing a very large retail location, doing weekly ads in the local newspaper, working with buyers, working with the different companies representing their brands on the front lines. So you had Nike, you had Reebok, you had Adidas, you had all of these different companies who are vying for that great real estate up front.
Where do you see Posh Design Studio in the next 3 to 5 years, realistically?
Realistically, with the inquiries that we've had, I see it definitely going into more of a commercial sector.
Okay.
I'm vying for that space as well. I feel like I can make a large impact, and I love to bring unexpected spaces to an area where they're, in my experience, a bit more traditional. And so I love people to be blown away with the space or really connect with some of the details so that they do become more comfortable knowing that they may have a procedure following that once they walk past the doors into the exam space.
What was your experience working with Ferragamo?
Oh my goodness. Ferragamo is a man's world. Ferragamo produces a beautiful product. That experience was phenomenal because it was one of the few organizations where we're building out a brand new location. It had never existed in the city. The company also flew my entire team and myself up to New York for training, which was a very unique experience. We went to the flagship on Fifth Avenue. We were at the corporate offices. We truly were able to embody and embrace the entire soul of Ferragamo from a very different perspective. We opened a store here in North Park Center. And also around that time, North Park Center was bringing Fashion Week to Dallas. And so not only were we in the midst of Fashion Week, we also had a very special event. And so after the fashion show, there were a few patrons that had purchased tickets that also benefited the arts. We had the cream of the crop at George Michael's house. George Michael was the partner of Kenny Goss at the time.
George Michael?
The George Michael. And so this event was at their home in Highland Park. on their pool. And I'll never forget it. A lot of special things happened that evening, but it was wonderful walking past his Grammys. It was wonderful meeting songwriters. It was incredible being in that space with our executive team and just representing the brand. And that doesn't happen often in Dallas. And so I still to this day think, pinch me, did that actually transpire? And was I a big part of it?
What an amazing experience. George Michael's home?
George Michael's home.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I can't. But being that it's coming from you, I can. So what do you think is missing from the luxury fashion world?
So the luxury fashion world it encompasses so much, and they've hit pretty much every corner that you possibly can. Now, what I really treasure with luxury are the stories that really connect you to the product. And I feel that in this day and age, we have so many different perspectives that are easily accessible that sometimes a story becomes someone else's perspective. And so to really connect with a product, to feel the hands that have made that item, the hours that it takes to produce that piece, the thought that went into it is truly an art. And there are artisans all over the world that are producing incredible pieces. And for me, I really like to hear those stories and connect with them because those are the pieces that I'm drawn to as well from a luxury perspective.
Any advice for anyone that wants to get into the interior design, interior decoration world, luxury fashion? What advice could we give them?
Any world that you want to get into, if you love it, if you would do it for free, that's the one question I would ask anyone. If money was not an object and there were no challenges, what would you do for free? What would you do that if no one paid you a cent for, you would have a great time doing it? First, discover within yourself what that is. And you may be on a path where you're doing something and you realize you're not passionate about it. It's an occupation, it may be a job. And once you've honed in on areas, and sometimes your friends and family see them in you, and you may not realize that that's the direction that could be a potential new road to take. So decide what it is that you would do at no charge to someone else, and become a student of that field. Become a student of that field, intern, inquire, get a mentor. I didn't have the opportunity to grow up with a mentor ever, so a lot of things that I've learned over the years I've just acquired. Recently, I have a mentor that I have.
Everything.
They're everything. And I didn't realize what I was missing out on by not having one. It wasn't a term that was used around me in my upbringing, and so I'm constantly learning and looking for opportunities to grow. But once you've realized what that field is, learn what you can about it, try to step into it in any capacity and absorb everything that you can from the people around you. There may be some, days that it's a little tougher, days that it's a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, if you're doing something that makes you happy and you're having a good time at it,
That's right.
it will never be work. It will never be work. And so my motto is to continue having a great time at what I'm doing, but if a day comes and I'm not having fun anymore, I'll potentially look for something else that makes me have a great time.
Can we let the audience know where we can actually find you online and see some of your amazing work, your portfolios, and get in contact?
100%. Go to www.thepashdesignstudio.com, and that's PASH with an A. I'm on Instagram under The Posh Design Studio as well as Facebook. You can contact me directly through Houzz.com. I'm listed as a Houzz Pro under The Posh Design Studio as well.
Love it. We thank you for being a part of Members Only. We will see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.